Alright, so greetings fellow gamers and Pokemon trainers, and welcome to our panel, Nintendo Communities, StreetPass, Pokemon, and Beyond at New York Comic Con 2013. Before we start here, I just want to ask a quick rhetorical question. Regardless which version of the game you bought last night, which starter did you start out with? Are you Team Fennekin, Team Chespin, or Team Okay, so just because we have this, everyone calm down, no, we're all excited here. Just because we have to say this as a group, if you've been trapped underneath the Snorlax for the past year, as we all know, Pokemon X and Pokemon Y came out technically today. Starting last night. Midnight launch at the Nintendo World Store, where these two, Debbie and Geoffrey, actually proposed marriage on stage during the Not only was it released at the Nintendo World Store, but it was also released midnight in various video game retailer stores, not only nationwide, but for the first time in the franchise history, worldwide. All the communities listed here, because we love the excitement. That's the same way we felt when we heard the game was announced. So all the communities with all of our logos here, as well as these community leaders here, including myself, we thought we would put an interesting presentation on for you to explain not only how the Pokemon franchise has evolved Nintendo hardware, but how it's shaped video game communities, past, present, and future for 17 years. But before we begin, we would like to introduce ourselves, our group, and what we do, starting with myself. My name is Jordan White. I am the founder and event organizer of StreetPass NYC. I run one of the biggest Nintendo 3DS fan clubs with a very talented team of Nintendo superfans. If my staff's out there, please make some noise. When I'm not dressing up as crazy Nintendo characters, I plan the events, locations, and times where we get to meet up, exchange StreetPass data, play video games, and have tons and tons of fun.
Hello everyone, my name is Geoffrey Kappenberg. I'm currently a student at Hunter College, and I am the ambassador at StreetPass NYC. I am also one of the resident Pokemon experts, which is why I was chosen for this panel. I'm one of the founding members of StreetPass NYC, and I'm also a member of every group represented here on the panel. The past couple days I've been cosplaying the male trainer from Pokemon X and Y. You might have seen me. Tomorrow I will be Phoenix Wright, and my favorite Pokemon is now Honedge, because I totally had that idea first. You're welcome.
Hi everybody, I'm Debbie Gluzband. I'm co-founder and senior event organizer at StreetPass Long Island. I'm also the author of the Glux blog. That's my personal Nintendo gamer blog. That's gluxbox.wordpress.com if you are interested. I also work professionally as a graphic designer and social media marketing specialist.
Hi everybody, I'm Jeff Weinstein, co-founder and senior event organizer of StreetPass Long Island. I started playing NES in 1986 when I was age 7, and that's the same year that NES launched in the United States, and I was also diagnosed with lazy eye that year. I played games like Zelda and Metroid for hours every day, and I wound up curing my condition in 6 months instead of the 15 months that my doctors originally predicted.
True story.
I've been a fan ever since, and I started the organization with my fiance, Debbie, in order to pay it forward and say thanks to Nintendo.
Hey, Matt.
My cousin.
Hello. Hey. I'm Matt Rodriguez. I'm the chief organizer and founder of Pokemon DS Meetup Group NYC. Yes, Pokemon DS Meetup Group. I mean, I'm pretty much a standard kind of guy. I have a full-time job, 40 hours a week. But I've been playing Pokemon since I was born, and I still love it to this very day. And Team Fennekin.
Hi, I'm Keith Smithsen, better known as KC online. I am a professional journalist. I began my career writing about exciting things like finance and banking, and then moved into the boring video game world. I've written for a website called mygamer.com. I eventually co-founded my own Pokemon podcast and website, the Pal Tribune. That was back in 2007. We had about 10,000 listeners to the podcast back then. But that community is still going, even though we've kind of closed that down. My newest project is the Pocket Players at thepocketplayers.com. It is a portable gaming blog. Pokemon's still a big part of that. We have a weekly podcast also, and we're actually happen to be our 1-year anniversary this week of the site. So
Now that we got that boring stuff out of the way, you know who all of us are, we would like to now introduce you to the different Nintendo communities that we run.
Alright, so we'll start with my group, StreetPass Long Island, our group, I should say. We're a local 3DS gamers group who lives on Long Island, and we want to have meetups, tournaments, and other Nintendo-themed events in our local Nassau and Suffolk counties.
We're a fan-run organization, and it was co-founded by myself, Jeff Weinstein, and my fiancée, Debbie Gluzband.
We actually met and started dating because of the Nintendo 3DS.
It's not us.
Epic music for that.
Long Island's pretty freaking epic, I must say.
So we're like the 3DS couple now. I think it's official.
We started out taking trips to PVGC and Nintendo World Store for events, and we wanted to share that experience with Long Island residents without the expensive trips and the long, costly commutes.
So we're kind of a newer group. We started in 2012, and our first meetup was on August 19, 2011 at Smithhaven Mall out in Suffolk County. And we have a 6-member staff, so yeah, we're doing good.
We have about 188 members from Nassau, Suffolk, on Long Island and New York City, as well as various countries around the world. And we're recognized for organizing meetups which explore various points of interest on Long Island, and we try to find creative tie-ins to those games and activities.
We have members that come, we sometimes have 25 members, sometimes 15, it really depends, you know, we're a smaller group, it's okay. And, but sometimes we have an event that was over 75 people for some of our Smash tournaments, so really good stuff on Long Island, check it out.
As far as future plans, this coming November, on November 17th, in Ozone Park, Queens, we're teaming up with StreetPass NYC to bring a very special event. It's going to be the Legend of Zelda: A Link Between Worlds archery competition. You don't have to be a pro archer. We're renting a place out for 2 hours after hours. We're going to have 3 private instructors, and they're going to teach everybody how to shoot accurately and safely, and then we're going to have a little competition.
Shoot those moblins.
You can check that out on Facebook. That's under our Facebook page, StreetPass Long Island. We also are planning to have some Pokemon X and Y, Wi-Fi, and in-person tournaments in 2014. And we're also going to be participating with Apex 2014. Our tournament organizer at StreetPass Long Island is going to be on the Apex staff. So we're really excited. We're going to be working with StreetPass NYC on that. So everybody come to Apex 2014. Woo!
They even agree. No pressure, Matt.
So, the Pokemon DS Meetup Group NYC was founded in March 2011. You know, first thing to note is that we're not actually an official sanctioned Pokemon League, but we do partner with another Pokemon League. It kind of gives us the flexibility to run interesting events. Like, I don't know how many of you have played Pokemon Conquest. That game, we were actually able to run a tournament on Pokemon Conquest, and you know, we promote. Yes, he won the tournament, so he's amazing. Yeah, you know, we can do other things like Pokédex 3D Pro. You know, we always did the Fun Fest. So, whereas the normal Pokemon League is very much into competitive battling, we like to do a lot of casual stuff and some battling on the side. Our next event will be on October 20th in the Rockefeller Center atrium. You know, we'll all have Pokemon X and Y for about a week up to that point, so I'm guessing we'll collect some O-Powers, we'll send them out, have some fun with that, and hope to see most of you there.
The Pocket Players, as I mentioned, it's a handheld gaming blog. We cover new and retro game reviews. We have a growing community on there. We host tournaments every other week. We have a couple of, even some online. We've done some Pokemon simulator tournaments. We also have tips. It's also just about handheld gaming in general, not just about DS or even Vita or like iPhone gaming. It's about gaming on the train. You know, like how do you play or where do you play? We have tips for all kinds of, you know, just playing outside of the box and getting out there. And you know what? As we got older, I found that console gaming, I can't make time for it as much anymore. That's kind of why we did this. When you grow up, you're not at home as much, so we're mostly people who, handhelds are the only way we can squeeze in some gaming on our lunch breaks at work. But yes, and as I've mentioned, there's a lot of Pokemon talk and stuff there too. And every Monday's Pokemon Monday, so. The Castelia League, which is an officially sanctioned Pokemon league, and I have to correct Matt on one thing. It's not really about the competitive battling. In fact, we're not allowed to run tournaments. It's about battling. It's about social group mostly. We reward just coming, participating. We play both the TCG and the video game. There's not a lot of places that do the video game, actually, because a lot of the places that run leagues are comic shops, and they're trying to sell you cards most of the time, so they don't usually make that much room for the video game. So we're one of the few places, and we like to meet after work, you know, with that kind of a group in the city. But we like to give out, one of the reasons people join is to give out gym badges and gym cases like this thing here, which are pretty nifty they give us. Promo cards and exclusive downloads, things like that, just for showing up enough. And if you want to, you can look up the Castelia League on the cards that are on your seats, or you can Google Castelia League.
Lean mixture.
There are many ways that we could tell you what StreetPass NYC is all about, but we thought you might like to hear it directly from Nintendo. You see, Nintendo actually made a video of one of our meets, our first meet in fact, in April of 2011. Please take a look.
StreetPass NYC is an informal group of gamers from the New York area who get together to share main characters through StreetPass, play games in the local Nintendo 3DS, and more.
On April 16th, the inaugural meeting of StreetPass NYC took place in New York's Union Square.
And Nintendo Week was there.
Check it out.
Hello, my name is Jordan White, and I am the founder of the StreetPass New York City group. What I'd like to happen is people can play games against each other, talk to each other, take 3D photos, and in general, get to know each other a little bit better and have fun.
I'm John from New York City, and I'm here to meet people and get some StreetPass hits. I came here with 10, and I have about 40 now, so this works.
So when I came here, I had about like 3 leads, and now I have like 43.
StreetPass is really flexible. You can use it passively, just sort of walk around and see what happens, or you can meet up with people, be like, oh, my Street Fighter team, just meet up your Street Fighter team.
I'm here in the StreetPass event, me and Square with my boyfriend. It's a social event because you help each other in the gaming community. You can actually go out, meet some fresh air, and socialize.
Like Find Me a lot, it's kind of like this RPG, only instead of like grinding to get experience, you have to go out with your StreetPass.
Hitting the bosses to collect your hats, leveling up your characters that you played with before. Something I look forward to doing every day.
I mean, it's just the coolest way to meet, you know, people that love video games. Like,
What the video we just showed you, we are StreetPass New York City. We operate in 4 out of the 5 boroughs: Manhattan, Queens, Bronx, and Brooklyn. We generally set up cool hangout meetups, as well as do official launch events with Nintendo of America and third-party partners, as well as we love to do charity runs to raise money for a good cause. If you want to know more, type in StreetPass NYC on Google, and you can find our Facebook and Twitter and more, just StreetPass NYC. So that kind of concludes what our groups are all about, but before we get to talking about 3DS and Pokemon X and Y, we thought we'd let you kind of know how Pokemon and Nintendo handheld gaming began.
Nintendo has always been on the cutting edge of innovation since their transition to video games in 1980. Amazingly, if you examine the history of Nintendo handheld consoles, you could see how the initial vision of modern-day 3DS originated in the early 80s. As technology caught up throughout the years, the concept of a dual-screen handheld that can connect gamers socially finally became possible. Does anybody recognize what this is? This is the Nintendo Game & Watch. This is their first handheld console. Created between 1980 and 1991, they were produced. It introduced the clamshell design and dual screens, which later evolved into a modern-day DS and 3DS handheld, and I'm amazed at how far we've came. The next generation was the Game Boy, which included Game Boy Pocket and Game Boy Color. There's a Game Boy Color Pokémon edition. The Game Boy launched in North America in 1989. The Game Boy Pocket came out in 1996, and the Game Boy Color followed in 1998. Old Game Boy consoles used a link cable in order to connect. And there was also an available 4-player adapter, which would allow you to connect 4 units. And also fascinating, the Game Boy Color even included IR capabilities. There was an available Game Boy camera, and in Japan, they even had a mobile phone adapter. Very interesting stuff.
So with the introduction of the Game Link cable, it really started what we like to call Nintendo communities. It started with just, me and my little sister playing Game Boy together, playing Tetris. And then once the 4-link came out, we were able to really start playing with a lot of friends and make groups of friends that were all Nintendo fans and start our own little Nintendo communities, either, in the cafeteria playing F1 race with our friends and start to share different strategies and things. This is really the birth of Nintendo communities, where we're actually able to interact with other people playing the same game.
So the link cable, that was really kind of the inspiration that brought Pokemon into reality. It wouldn't have been possible without something like that. And Satoshi Tajiri always imagined the Pokemon crossing across those link cables back and forth as like one of his sparks. But if you look at Pokemon in general, especially in the early days, it is the blueprint for making a gaming community. It's one of the first games that was ever designed from the ground up for that purpose, and even an early MMO, if you want to think about it like that. So in early 1996, Pokemon Red and Blue hit, and it does okay, actually. It wasn't until there was the secretly hidden Mew in the games. A programmer by the name of Shigeki Morimoto actually programmed it in there to no one else's knowledge, and when it was revealed, they turned it into an event, and it exploded. People, now you have a commodity. It's one thing to have the ability to trade back and forth, which was pretty genius, but it's the fact that now there's something I can have that, you can't get. Because I was one of the only people who went to the Pokemon Center, and I can not only show it off, I can battle you with it, and maybe it's a commodity for trading. That idea of commodity is really the backbone of something social, especially when there's trading involved. And just the importance of rarity and the mystique of it drove Pokemon from an okay game to phenomenon.
In 2001, Nintendo released Game Boy Advance. This was huge. This was their first console to feature full-color, 32-bit graphics. It was basically like having a Super Nintendo in your pocket. It also introduced the L and the R shoulder buttons, which is still popular today on the modern-day DS and 3DS. In 2003, we received the Game Boy Advance SP in North America. As you can see, the Game Boy Advance SP brought back the clamshell design. It's one screen, however, it also included a backlit display, which is similar to modern-day 3DS. In 2004, we also got the wireless adapter, and Debbie and Casey will now explain how pivotal this was.
So now with the wireless adapter, we're able to now connect wirelessly with our GBAs. So now we don't have to worry about the link cables anymore. Those were really in the way, and so this really helped with the Nintendo communities to grow and gain popularity. And every single game seems to start coming out with a multiplayer option or a multiplayer title, such as Legend of Zelda: Four Swords Adventures, which I think of it as a way that communities continue to grow. Other people think of it as a friendship ender. It's really up to you how you wanted to interpret the game. But we were able to either connect wirelessly or put your GBAs together and watch on the big screen on the Game Link cable for that. So it really helped us to grow our Nintendo communities. And then with publications like Nintendo Power, really getting people talking about Nintendo games and increasing the exclusivity. I know this cheat code, you don't know this cheat code, and people are talking and growing those communities even further.
I forgot we have a mix Gen 3. I'm going to go over Gen 2 real quick and then I'll jump into Gen 3. So Gen 2, as we forgot, was merged with the earlier slide. That was the first time they took advantage of the backwards compatibility. So now it wasn't just, I'm playing this game to collect for now. These trades, these things will carry on for the future. So it added more weight to that. But it also took advantage of the Game Boy Color hardware, when now you have that 1 in 8,000 shot of a shiny showing up, which was the alternate colored Pokemon. Now the fact that these were just so rare, again, piles on that idea of rarity and a commodity, and now there's a reason that you want to go out there, I want that shiny Pikachu, I have to find someone who has a shiny Pikachu, and now you go online and you try to meet that person for that sake. And that was, another really brilliant way to force people to go out and seek, each other. Also, the mobile GP, I have to definitely mention really quickly, this was a device that was only released in Japan, but it had all the features that would eventually become immensely influential on the Pokemon series. It had an early version of the PAL Pad, it also had trading and uploading online, and it also had this news machine which let people access trading and some quizzes that were online. Gen 3 kind of threw everyone a curveball, though. This is when they realized this wasn't just going to go for 1 or 2 generations and be over. Like, okay, we have to make this able to survive for a very long time. And to do that, we have to zero it out. Basically, now you can't transfer. You were not able to transfer your Pokemon from Gen 2 to 3. This was devastating to a lot of people. A lot of people were really upset about this, but there is a bright side to this. It zeroed the playing field, meaning everyone who didn't get on the train from the beginning now can get on, and a whole new generation of players could join in, and you're on the same level playing field. I'm starting from scratch, we're all starting from scratch, and I think that helped actually, and all the changes they made were for the better. All the stat changes and the new types propelled it even further, and now everyone was starting from the same starting point, so, we're all even.
We wanted to add in the e-reader as another community former here. Personally, I'm an Animal Crossing fanatic, so it was so amazing for Animal Crossing. We had so many new features that we could play with, and there were other games too that took advantage of the e-reader. And this again had people coming together. Oh, can we trade e-reader cards? What do you have? What everyone was talking about it, and these are the new innovative things that Nintendo is coming out with that really helped communities to grow.
So, around this time, some important sites did get started. In 2004, Smogon University launched, and they are important for, and if you don't know the site, but it sounds like most of you do, Smogon is responsible in large part to codifying battle. Basically, the method or the rules by which people can casually battle each other. You love Charizard, but you know what? Oh, he's not that powerful, and you can't really use him in a team, regrettably. They have a rule set where you can use what they would call like the underused or the never used Pokemon, and now you can, as long as everyone's using that same tier of Pokemon, you're on the level playing field. So that allowed people who just want to play with their favorites, not necessarily the best ones, to now incorporate them in that important aspect of the game. And, well, what can I say about Bulbapedia? There's like the source, I mean, it's just like a wiki page. Everyone comes together, they've all written all the articles. It's the best source of lore and raw data you can ask for, and it's built by fans who've contributed to it. So, also, this is around the time that the Video Games Championship officially began. And so this was a really big move. Now there wasn't just people playing casually with each other, there were prizes on the line. People could go to tournaments that meant something. They shipped people to Hawaii for the finals. And I think one of the coolest things that they added from the Video Game Championship Series is the fact that in Black and White 2, they allowed players to actually play against downloaded versions of the champions. So you can kind of get a taste of the same competition that the people who went down there got to take part in. And you can see just what kind of, like, how high a level you can get. It's, you know, you can play this as just a kid's game, fine, enjoy it, but you could play it on this really high level. And, you know, that can only come from people sharing the community of information.
In 2005, enter the Nintendo DS. I'm sorry.
Almost there.
And then in 2006, North America received the Nintendo DS Lite. The Nintendo DS family is the first line of Nintendo's dual-screen handheld consoles with a touchscreen on the lower screen. It also included local wireless functions, which were now installed on the console itself. And around this time, Nintendo also introduced PictoChat, which allows for friends to write and draw pictures with other friends via local wireless.
So along with the local wireless that was now integrated within the system, different games started adopting what was the new phenomenon, the internet. So we had Wi-Fi communities starting to grow at this point. Again, I have to mention Animal Crossing as being a huge catalyst with this because sites like Animal Crossing Community allowed people to form communities online. I was able to make friends with people in England, Holland, Japan, to collect different items from these different areas that were exclusive to their region. So people are now having communities online, meeting new friends that they've never actually met in real life, but their communities are continuing to grow. It is really an amazing phenomenon.
So Gen 4, Diamond and Pearl in September 2006. I cannot overstate how important the addition of Wi-Fi, as she mentioned, was to this generation. Now it wasn't just battling with whoever you could find personally. You can now battle anyone around the world. You could find random battles. Now you could practice day and night, or you could just upload your team and see how it does it with the auto battle feature. The idea is pioneered by the mobile GS that I mentioned earlier. They all came to full fruition here. That is why they added the voice chat system, the online trading, the online competition, and the global trade system where you could upload the Pokemon and just trade them there. That all was pioneered by the mobile GS, you know, so long ago.
In 2009, Nintendo released the DSi in North America. This generation added some new and exciting online features, such as the Nintendo DSi shop. And in 2010, the DSi XL came out, which, same features, it added a giant screen.
And along with that DSi shop came a lot of DSi wear, which were really cool apps. Some were more apps, some were more games. They were more affordable, and some of the new games that came out took advantage of the new features that were in the DSi, such as the camera that was now integrated within it. And so people were able to play games like Photo Dojo with friends. You could get your friend right in there in the game. Your friends would beat each other up in front of your very eyes. And if you didn't like local wireless play, that's okay too, because with the DSi's now integrated Wi-Fi system, you were able to play games, again, with your friends in Japan, in Amsterdam, wherever your friends are. California, you can play Tetris online with them now. You don't have to worry about link cables, you don't have to worry about being nearby, you can play with anyone, anywhere, thanks to the new Wi-Fi features.
So, Generation 5 had the one thing that I think is, it's really amazing if you think about what the C Gear is. It's essentially StreetPass before the system had StreetPass. I mean, it allowed you to not just, you know, get some random information from each other. It took surveys. You could see how many people who play Pokemon around me, are they male, female, who do they pick as their starter, what age group they are. You understood more about the community and the people you're nearby just by walking by them, and it gave you some real interesting data on them. You could even ask, find out what their dreams are, Join Avenue was another great feature where you could what's better than just passing your friends, but then downloading them in your game and buying potions from them because they set up shop for a while. I also think that this was the time where it started hitting the limits of the hardware, but they really pushed everything to that, to the extreme there. But it was a great last hurrah for the DS, and everything they could do with it, they really did there. Oh, I also mentioned the contests, which I forgot to mention last time. I thought the contests that were integrated into the game were very important for real battle competitiveness for people who aren't into that way of playing with each other. It's a way to play with other people that is a little friendlier and let people not feel that pressure. Because I'm the kind of person, if I'm battling you, I'm like, I gotta win, I gotta win, I gotta win. No, I don't care if I lose a contest.
So now we reach the present with the Nintendo 3DS family of handhelds. I was so excited for this thing in 2011. In my opinion, and I think we all agree, what makes the Nintendo 3DS so successful and awesome to own is that the 3DS is a comprehensive gathering of everything Nintendo has learned from their past foray into handheld gaming. The upper screen can display not only advanced polygonal 3D graphics, but can add to that by displaying actual physical 3D depth. The Nintendo Network, which is the successor to the Nintendo Wi-Fi connection, is a comprehensive, unified server network where you can download retail games and indie games such as Steamworks Dig on the eShop, DLC, patches, and a robust online gaming multiplayer system. All these features that have been listed here have been upgraded from past generations: 3D cameras, augmented reality, 3D movement via the circle pad cannot be overstated enough. And also a browser, and these are all built right into the unit. Simply put, the Nintendo 3DS is the ultimate social, always connected system that is an amazing piece of hardware to build communities around.
The latest member of the Nintendo 3DS family is, of course, the 2DS.
It's not a joke.
It's available today right alongside Pokemon X and Pokemon Y. As you may very well know, it removes the auto-stereoscopic 3D functionality. It also changes the form factor, so it's no longer a clamshell. And for these reasons, it's a cheaper device. These factors make it a good fit for kids, as well as those who are in the market for a less expensive handheld. And if you look at history, there's a lot of cases where Nintendo's been offering a cheaper alternative. So this is sort of continuing that trend a bit. Now, moving on to StreetPass. Obviously a very important buzzword, but
what is it?
We're about to find out. I like to think of StreetPass as passive communication. I close my 3DS, it's in sleep mode, and if it passes by your 3DS, we can exchange information automatically. This data can be points that go towards completion in the game, like what happens in the Mii Plaza. It could be passing high scores, it could be passing a user profile or something that you've customized. And what this really does is it encourages players to bring their systems out with them on the go and seek out players to pass by and places where they can pass by, including a new relay system which has recently been launched, where if you go to a Nintendo Zone location, which could be a Starbucks or a Best Buy, for example, you'll automatically receive StreetPass hits, 6 of them, from the last 6 people who were at that location. So it's a good alternative if you're looking for StreetPass hits.
And what's interesting about StreetPass is that Nintendo really pushed the 3D in the online, and in our opinion, it seems like you all had answered with your wallets. StreetPass has become a really integral feature to the point where most first-party and third-party 3DS games have StreetPass functions. 2 of my favorites on the menu list right here is Mario Kart 7, where when you StreetPass people, not only can you race them in their online profile, but also download Ghost Data to race against. Of course, Pokemon X and Y has a very interesting StreetPass feature, which we will get to in a moment. And Kid Icarus Uprising, where you're allowed to forge together weapons and trade them, so you have a really awesome weapon online to torture your opponents with. Jeff, you have any favorites up there? Am I missing?
Two of my favorite examples are actually from recent games. First, Debbie will enjoy this, Animal Crossing New Leaf. Your house to be sent out via StreetPass, and it'll be seen in other people's towns in a special area. So it's like it's a model home that's on display, and you can go into people's model homes and order furniture that they have on display there. Another example, it's more obscure, Shin Megami Tensei 4. It takes the hallmark demon fusion mechanic from that series and it transposes it in StreetPass form. I'll have a demon in my system, you'll have a demon in yours. When we StreetPass, they'll fuse and we'll each get a copy of the result.
And what's equally as fascinating about this whole local play system is that Nintendo has a very equally strong attempt to bring this sort of local multiplayer passive functionality into their online sphere with Miiverse and in-game communities. Players will be able to create in-game communities in certain games, as well as very soon their own Miiverse communities, in which they can, very similar to StreetPass and our local meetups, chat, share data, and play group games online, very similar to if you were playing in real life against those people.
Now, let's talk a bit about real-life communities. We've seen all these features that Nintendo has offered over the years for communication, but these features mean nothing without the fans who use them. And Nintendo fans are pretty resourceful, and they've adapted well to all these features. And sometimes, Nintendo fans put these features to use in ways that even Nintendo hadn't imagined.
StreetPass, which was originally known as CrossPass before it was released, and yay for dramatic music. It's very easy to do in Japan, because Nintendo, even though they think locally, they mainly design their systems in Japan, because you have the commuter culture, you have a way denser population. It's very easy to walk around Japan and get 10 Miis in the span of a couple of seconds. Unfortunately, for the rest of the world, even in a great place like New York City, it's very hard to come across people unless you have amazing, well-run, very bizarre fan community events such as New York Comic Con 2013.
Or you take the R train.
So to solve this problem, and Nintendo did not see this coming at all, I asked them, fans around the world, starting in DC, started to band together and form the concept of StreetPass groups.
I would define a StreetPass group as a group that exists for the purpose of facilitating StreetPass exchanges between gamers. If you go to a StreetPass meetup, which I hope you will, you'll see people playing games, interacting, talking about whatever the latest news is, or they could just be passively observing, because StreetPass allows for that too. This will usually be in a local venue, something that sort of brings something unique to the geographical region where the group comes from. And in the northeast region of this country, in addition to New York City and Long Island, obviously, some of the outstanding groups are StreetPass DC, as has been mentioned, StreetPass Princeton in New Jersey, StreetPass Boston, Albany StreetPass, and StreetPass Philadelphia.
And there's also, a quick mention, groups all around the world, including London, Dubai, Germany. At one point there was 300 groups, and there's still over 100, and they're going really strong.
And if you want, anyone can make a StreetPass group. And I'll tell you the secret behind StreetPass groups. StreetPass groups are people. Pokemon groups are people. They're people. It doesn't matter if you don't have some amazing venue. It doesn't matter if you don't have a huge budget. If you have people gathered in one place, you've got a meetup, you've got a successful group going.
And, you know, and to dedicate that, like I said, like Geoffrey said, pardon my French, you know, dedicated people are people like here for yourself, which we're amazed that this panel filled out here, and we're really glad that you came. So, you know, just wanted to get that shout out there. But what was interesting, so all these groups started to form all over the world and all across the United States. And when we all started talking, all the different groups, New York was talking to Long Island, Philly was talking to LA, we started to think together, and we started to think about we should help each other and organize ourselves. So we decided to form our own umbrella organization. No PowerPoint, not that umbrella organization, this umbrella organization known as the StreetPass Network. The StreetPass Network, I think the best description is a telephone-like directory where you can go and look up different groups in your local area, and if you don't have a group, relax. There are resources that are listed on the website that teach you how to network and spread the word so you can set up your own group in your own local area. It's pretty easy. I mean, we kind of just hand out flyers and holy crud, you guys are all here. So, Jeff, once again, where can we find this resource?
www.streetpassnetwork.com. Ask your parents' permission before going online.
So now that you know about 3DS and you know sort of the history of kind of the Street Pass groups, we now arrive to the absolute present today with Pokemon X and Y, and to see all of those amazing developments. My esteemed friend and colleague, he runs an amazing group. Matt, take it away.
Hey guys. So, I heard a lot of noise from you guys earlier, but I'm just curious, seriously, by show of hands, how many of you actually have Pokemon X and Y right now? Put your hand up. Everyone in this room. Wow. Yeah. Did you all remember to activate your Street Passes? Street Pass motions? For those of you that don't know, it's in the Holocaster menu of the game in the bottom screen when you're in the game. There's a lot that could be said about Pokemon X and Y and 6th generation. I kind of want to focus on what most of these things mean to us. So like, one of the big things that are promoting a Pokemonomy, where you can interact with your Pokemon separately, feed them, pet them. I believe, or I feel this is to bring back that feeling that I think most of us have had during first generation, when you first picked up a Pokemon game and just played with Charmander, Bulbasaur, Squirtle, whatever it is. That nice feeling you had just connecting with your Pokemon. The other cool thing that's coming out, which is a companion to 6th Gen, is Pokemon Bank, which I think, like me, most of you have probably been pushing your Pokemon up throughout the generations. Probably having some trouble with that, just because of the limited amount of space. And another interesting thing that was said in the recent Nintendo Direct by a Japanese celebrity, I want my grandchildren to know that I battled the Charizard. So you just imagine what this means for us years from now when we can show like our children or grandchildren which Pokemon we've been playing with. Player search system. Wow. when we all started out, well, for most of you that have once again gone through the generations, we've had to sit with friends with link cables, and we went through the whole thing here with the DS and the wireless, and then eventually expanded to Wi-Fi. This is a culmination of all of that. You're always connected to everyone around you. You're always connected to everyone online. And what does this mean for us? You are never alone. Ever. I know that sounds creepy, but we're always connected 24/7 to people online, to people around us. So that's exactly what this means for us.
And of course, as we stressed here, Pokemon's going to really push these features, and none of these features would be able to be better for the hardware. So between hardware, Pokemon, and the communities that spawn from them, it'll be very interesting to see the various directions they go. Matt, would you like to comment what you think maybe some of these Pokemon X and Y features might lead to in the future, or what you're maybe hoping to do?
It's kind of hard to say. I run my own group, but I expect to see a lot of these features being used at least in official Pokemon leagues moving forward. The O-Powers are interesting because you can give benefits to those that you're playing with sitting around you. Like, I don't know if you're familiar with pass powers from 5th Gen, but one interesting way I was able to use that function, and for those of you that are unfamiliar, you tap it, everyone around you receives it, so like, I activate my Experience Point Power Plus, everyone around me gets that too, they get to pump up the experience in their Pokemon. I was able to play Pokemon Black and White 2 cooperatively with my wife, sitting in the same room, running through the game, activating Experience Point, getting extra experience with gym leaders. So this is a way to battle it, to do it cooperatively without actually having to be together like that inside the same game.
Cool. Well, I'm excited with our group and all of our groups to see what's going to result from this. And we are going to take a couple of questions in a few minutes, and we would ask if you can line up behind our cameraman right there. He's doing a great job. We're going to take a few questions. But before we get to Q&A, we just want to speak about that. Most people think of idols in Nintendo. They think of, obviously, Shigeru Miyamoto or Masahiro Sakurai, but we all have to remember... Yes, Reggie! Body is always ready. But you'll have to keep in mind that none of this would be possible without Hiroshi Imaichi. A toy company to one of the biggest and best gaming companies out there, and also gave birth and produced got all the franchises we play today, such as Mario, Zelda, Kirby, Metroid. But he was the one that, when Game Freak pitched the idea, his executives did not think it was going to sell, and they wanted to cancel it. And he said that, I don't think it's going to sell, but I love this game so much that I'm going to tell Miyamoto to work with you, and we'll put that game out there and see how it goes. So without this man, we would not have Pokemon as this today. And we thought we would just take a moment, and if everyone can join in, a moment of silence, a short moment of silence for Hiroshi Imaichi, who sadly passed away on September 9th, 2013. Okay, so that's our panel. We're now going to open for a few questions here. We have limited microphones things, so just try to get all you can. So first up. Before we answer that, for all those leaving, we plan to hand out some free stuff soon, so you might want to stick around. Anyone would like to take that question?
I got a sort of interesting answer. I don't think it's what we've been going over this panel. It's kind of interesting. I think one thing might be the D-pad. This is kind of a general Nintendo innovation, but you'll notice that there aren't D-pads like that on any other system. I don't know if it's a patent or what, but just having that D-pad when I'm playing on the go, it's such a great thing. It's a little thing, but it means a lot to me.
Thank you. Next question, please. Well, one place that you actually made me to push to thank earlier is the Nintendo World Store, who's been working very hard to do the Pokemon X and Y launch. They're some of the most dedicated Nintendo fans I know. Local GameStops, especially like the one on 14th Street in Union Square, often bustles with activity, as well as the Toys R Us in Times Square. And I think if you definitely check out StreetPass NYC and look up our meetings, Peter over here has like the entire population of China on his 3DS just with over 2 years. He'll show you later. It'll take too much time.
I've definitely noticed some trains, and especially some times of day, have a denser population of people with DSs. I've met like the same person via StreetPass like 5 times in a week, and I still don't know who he is on the train. I look a lot like my me, so I'm afraid he can tell who I am, but I can't tell who he is, so a little lopsided relationship there. But,
also, Simon Malls have Nintendo Zone, so at least on Long Island, Debbie and I get a lot of street passes at various malls.
Thank you. Next question, please. We're just trying to get as many questions as we can, because we know you guys are excited. Ooh, anyone take that?
Yeah, can I take this one actually?
Yes. Go ahead, Matt.
Absolutely. The gen that just passed, Generation 5. This game was based on New York City. This was our game. It was based on all of us.
Anyone else?
I agree. You know vibe.
You know vibe. Next question.
You know vibe. United States of America.
There you go.
That just like hit me like a week ago.
Next question, please. interesting question.
You know, that's exactly the demo question when we were practicing.
And I'd like to take that one. Actually, I feel that, especially with our group and in my experience, is that the reverse has been happening. I spoke at PAX 2012 about the same subject, and I've always said that StreetPass to me is like a reverse Xbox Live. Where with Xbox Live, you personally have to pay, but you have to go on and you find just usernames and you're just talking on, and everyone's in obscenities over the microphone, and you know, you don't really get to meet people. To me, a community is about finding out, hey, where you live, what's the weather like there? Oh, that's cool. Is there any hobbies that we like? Oh my God, I love Legend of Korra. You love Legend of Korra. Let's talk about it. And to me, that's what the StreetPass groups do. We can attest personally that I did not know any of these people before our group started, and now I have an amazing group of people I wouldn't have met otherwise, and I'm very grateful for that.
My thing is, it's as impersonal as you want to be. As I said, I mean, I look like my me. If that person wants to say, oh, hey, are you the guy with the hat, the pirate hat, and you're me? I'm like, oh yeah, you're playing Pokemon. I see you playing the same. All right, you know, it could be an icebreaker, and it's a reason for you to talk in person if you want that to be. It's only and when you get together in these groups like this, it's not impersonal. Now it's face to face if you want it to be.
Sometimes I disguise myself as Nicolas Cage.
Thank you for your question. Just real quick, we only have time for one or two more quick questions, but we're going to be outside, so if you want questions, just ask us. Yes, sir? You with the blue hat? That sounds like a Matt question, Matt.
Actually, I wanted to let Jeff take this.
Well, I will say that the Pokemon series is very vast. It contains a lot of things, even if you go outside the games, the anime, the card game, etc. So Pokemon Rumble Blast, I see as sort of its own unique thing, or Rumble View rather. As far as the main game, I've not been privy to a lot of the spoiler stuff. I kind of did hear about that size of the roster. It doesn't bother me particularly. I know some people complain, oh, I can't catch up with all the new Pokemon. So, you know, it's kind of a double-edged sword. If they're focusing on quality over quantity, I'll take it.
Thank you. I just want to say this is the last question, but we will answer questions outside after the panel. No pressure. Lots and lots of flyers.
Personally, if you go out of your way to make them feel well, some people definitely are maybe either shy or they just don't feel like, maybe they don't feel like they're into Pokemon or something enough to do it. But if they show even that little bit of interest, let's say like you have a Facebook page for the group up, which makes it a lot very easy. Just make it the lowest barrier to entry. If they comment on your Facebook page or your meetup.com group, message them back. Say, hey, please, we would love you to come. Let them know it's you that you're doing us the favor for coming. We would love to make it easy for you. And you know what, we'll teach you. There's plenty of people here who'll teach you. And if you have, you know, generally speaking, we're all very welcoming, friendly people in these groups. I've almost never had someone who made someone feel unwelcome. So just get more, it'll snowball as you get more friendly people, and they all reach out. They bring in.
You just get out there and meet people and start conversations. NES for me.
Games one.
And Dreamcast. All right, I apologize. That is the last question, so that's bad news. The good news is, who wants free stuff? We're going to try to get as much stuff as I can. We originally had a ticket thing, but you guys are awesome and decided to like pre-line up here anyhow, like this was the X and Y launch. So what we're going to do is we're going to roll this dice here, and there's going to be a number row up from left to right, and then the second number is up, and we'd like that person to stand up and come to the front and get their stuff. So the first thing we are giving out here is we've printed 5 exclusive t-shirts. This has the logo of our panel and our logos on the back. We're only printing them out here. We are never printing them again.
Oh. Can you get a picture of me in front of the slide?
Mine number 9. Yeah, if I can get my hands on it, I'll cover some more hands. I think those look good.